Hey, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. As always, it's really great to see you. What a wild ride this last week has been financially.
Wild is not the word.
No.
It's been crazy, and everybody's holding their breath, obviously.
Yeah, and don't really understand where we're going to go. So we thought we'd just take a few moments, kind of the agents on the street, and give you a viewpoint of absurdity that's occurred since we last saw you. You know, the stock market has plummeted. Just a bit ago, the stock market had risen back up. Bond rates had soared. Bond rates fell. Everybody was taking money out of the stock market. Now it appears that money is going back into the stock market. And what has happened, it seems like there has definitely been an impact on a couple of different fronts.
Yes.
As it applies to the real estate industry. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, for sure. I think the number one reason was the tariffs and the announcement of that on
and the
April
uncertainty
2nd.
Of that, right?
And I think we've been hearing a lot of
tariffs
news.
On, tariffs off.
Yeah, we've been hearing a lot of news, and the international community really is responding. So I think all of that has to feed into the uncertainty that's going on right now.
It's true. Our in-house loan officer, of course, Ron Tinchert, was talking to us this morning at the sales meeting, and he mentioned that he had made a quote to a buyer last Friday when everything seemed to be predicting interest rates coming down, that there could be some stability in this marketplace. A quote last week that was 0.5%. This was on Friday, 0.5% lower than he would have to go back to the same buyer and quote today.
Wow.
So I think where we were anticipating, and even the National Association of Realtors was predicting that we would start to see a steady decline in interest rates. The next thing we know is boom, Ron has to make a quote 0.5% higher in just 2 business days.
Yes, it's crazy. And what we're trying to tell our clients is don't panic. It is all going to settle down. The truth of the matter is it has to run its course before everyone understands what's going to happen and make.
So just kind of calm down.
So calming down is the number one important factor. Everybody's situation is different. And like I mentioned to you, we actually were working with a buyer who had all his cash in stocks and was going to use that cash to purchase a home. Well, with the stock market falling, they lose money if they cash out at this point. So that puts them on hold. Somebody else may be in a different situation where they have the cash available or they have a home to sell.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about that. And like we were chatting about earlier, the good news in all of this, I think, is that though the stock market, though the bond market is kind of unpredictable right now, what is not is real estate.
Yeah.
And historically,
it's kind of the steady eddy, right, of investment.
So appreciation may slow down, but it seems, especially in Northern Virginia, we're a little bit more insulated, and home prices seem to either stay steady or continue to rise, just not maybe as much as people would want.
Yeah, and it's like we always report. We did an open house this last week. We actually did a couple of open houses this last weekend. And buyers are still out, right? And the fun part is that there's still optimistic buyers that are out there. Some are long-term buyers. One couple that came through had been looking arguably for over a year. The next couple that walks in the door, you're talking to somebody that's just been looking for less than 30 days.
Yes.
But the sense that we got from everybody is that there's still, home was what everybody was looking for.
Yes.
We certainly work with a lot of investors, there's no doubt. But there are a lot of people that are looking for homes that are still out there looking for that community, right? They're looking for the environment. Certainly schools are always a big factor. And I think that that's the impression that I got from listening to everybody over the weekend, is that we're still interested in establishing a home. And that's what's most important to us. The investment, yes, that's very important. And we certainly don't want to see values take a nosedive. But in this environment, we still saw optimism. We saw that sense of community. And I think it gave me a sense of encouragement as well, that we're probably going to normalize this market, but with your advice, just kind of that steady eddy. Let's look for real estate, not necessarily just as that huge home run type of investment, but let's look at it as a home.
Yes, and I think it's also positive that they are the buyers out there are so positive, and that's good to see, because we always encourage everyone, if you can purchase a home, don't worry about 6% interest rate, 6.5. The point is that it secures you for the future, because in a situation like this, who's more secure? Homeowners.
Yeah.
Because they have that investment already locked in. We always say homeowners are 40 times more wealthy than renters. So if you do have the opportunity to get that mortgage, don't let this situation deter you from getting your home, for sure.
Yeah, we just did that post recently on our web page with regard to what's happening, compare, wealth, building up wealth as a renter, building up wealth as an owner, and it's dramatic comparisons between those two. So take a look at that. If you have a minute, take a look at our website and certainly look at some of the blogs that we've done, because over a long term, again, that's why I think these buyers are still out in the marketplace, because they understand that owning, a lot of these were move-up buyers too, which was interesting to see too, as people are not so secure with that, next step. Most of these buyers that we talked to over the weekend were actually move-up buyers, right?
So, we're going to definitely stay on top of this.
We will indeed.
I'm sure there'll be a lot more to come.
Well, we have probably a market update coming up here, maybe next week if the numbers come out in time. So we'll kind of continue to track this. As always, we really appreciate you tuning in. This is kind of like a brief agent on the street update, but we thought we'd bring this to you this week to kind of give you an idea that, yes, there is a lot of volatility. My gosh, the economic forecasts, which we've stopped doing, are all over the place. But stay tuned, because I think that there's much more to come, right?
Yes,
a lot more excitement.
For sure. So do us a favor, please subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. That way you get to see the videos as soon as they're released.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.